In this video, I want to talk about the importance of cultural awareness within our profession. I'll go over briefly the disparities in health, socioeconomics and education, then discuss SLT demographics versus our client or patient demographics, and then I want to talk about the effects of the disparities in health and education on our profession and on our clients and patients. So as we know from the statistics, there are many disparities within health, education and economics in the UK. In health, we know that black men are 4 times more likely to die of COVID than their white counterparts. We know that people from BAME groups are more likely to be detained under the Mental Health Act than their white counterparts. And we know that black women are 5 times more likely to die during childbirth. In education, we know that black students are disciplined more harshly and less likely to be praised. We know that black Caribbean students are almost 3 times more likely to be excluded. And we know that only last year in 2019, 1 in 20 students at university left their studies due to racial harassment. Now moving over to socioeconomics, for every £1 of white British wealth, black Caribbeans have 20p. Black Africans and Bangladeshis have approximately 10p. 36% of our UK homeless are from BAME backgrounds, despite only making up 15% of the UK population. Child poverty rates by ethnic group include 47% of black children, 54% of Pakistani children, 60% of Bangladeshi children, and that is in comparison to 26% of white children. Now, many of you might be thinking, why is she going on about this and what does this matter in speech and language therapy? How does this affect my career as a speech and language therapist? Well, if we compare our profession's demographics to our client demographics, it's very telling that there is something wrong. Only last year, only 13% of our students were from ethnic minority backgrounds. Again, last year, only 6% of our students who were doing their first degree under the age of 21 were from the most disadvantaged neighbourhoods in the UK, compared to 11.3% in the UK general student population. And this year, in 2020, only 7% of our speech and language therapists are from BAME backgrounds. Now, if we compare that to our client demographics, we know that in stroke, there is a higher risk in African, Caribbean and South Asian communities. We know that there is a higher prevalence of learning disabilities in ethnic minority households. And we know regarding socioeconomic status, approximately 50% of children who are in socioeconomically disadvantaged populations have speech and language and communication skills which are significantly lower than children of the same age. We also know that there is a high prevalence of deafness in South Asian families, for example. So what this shows is that we as a profession do not mirror the populations that we serve. Biological weathering is a term used to describe how constant exposure to these disparities and stresses can cause premature physiological and mental aging and poor health outcomes within minority populations. This doesn't just occur with our patients and our clients, but it also occurs within our colleagues. So, for patients and clients, you might get reduced trust in the healthcare system. You might get reduced awareness of services available and the rights to access certain services. And you might get reduced engagement in therapy. With our colleagues, not only do we experience biological weathering as well, effects on physical and mental health, but you might find reduced engagement with our colleagues. And you might also see mental exhaustion from having to deal with these things outside of work and also inside of work. The effects of biological weathering are exacerbated when there's a lack of representation in resources and faces. And by that, I mean our colleagues and our therapists. Now that we're on to the topic of representation within resources and faces, I want to make you aware of a term in sociology called symbolic annihilation. And this is used to describe the absence of representation or the underrepresentation of groups of people within the media. And this is often based on race, sexual orientation, gender, class, and socioeconomic status. Nicole Martins from Indiana University said a really good quote, which is, if you don't see people like you in the media that you consume, you must somehow be unimportant. And this can have a real impact on self-esteem and confidence and make someone really consider, does society value me as a person? And as speech and language therapists, where we have such a wide breadth of influence within our profession, working in so many different settings such as rehab, clinic settings, acute settings and school settings, we cannot afford to reinforce the repeated exposure to resources and media containing people who do not represent our clients and our patients. Thank you.